Construct Collective donate this new bench that now grace Duranguito as a symbol of the cause. El convertidor catalítico o catalizador es una pieza debajo de su coche que ayuda a reducir la contaminación. ¿Pero por qué los ladrones lo quieren? Bueno, es porque dentro de ellos tienen metales incluso más valiosos que el oro. The Trump administration policy forced all these people to stay in Mexico, while the courts decided their asylum cases. President Biden is changing that policy to what it used to be, allowing them to stay in the United States while their cases are being considered. It took 15 days for Ingrid Morales and her family to come from Honduras through Guatemala and Mexico to reach the border with the United States. She fled her home because criminals burned down her house. She wants her family to have a better future. Isabel Maldonado is from Guatemala, and her young son almost drowned when she crossed the river into the United States. They were sent back to Mexico, but this has not stopped her. She doesn't want to go back to her country and does not want to stay in Mexico. She wants to work in the United States and for her children to get an education. Grecia Herrera began this shelter to help people like Ingrid and Isabel. There are 115 families here, from Honduras, Haiti, and Guatemala, who came to escape violence. They are all hoping for a better life.
De recibimiento hacia ellos, pues todavía está un poquito pausado.
The Trump administration policy forced all these people to stay in Mexico, while the courts decided their asylum cases. President Biden is changing that policy to what it used to be, allowing them to stay in the United States while their cases are being considered. But it's still a slow process. Asylum seekers are waiting in Juarez to come into the United States.
They would detain you and they would set you up for what they call a credible fear interview. And they would interview you regarding the fear you have returning to your country.
The process can be complicated, so there could be a long wait. Diana Villanueva, NEWS22. A crowd estimated at 500 demonstrated for justice and safety for women on the Mexican side of the Santa Fe Bridge. One of the coordinators told she was assaulted when she was 7 and again at 9. It's been only recently she's been able to talk about it. Juarez teacher Maria Isabel Nieto says she and her colleagues are veterans in the fight for women's rights. She says all women deserve respect, safety, and equal pay for equal work.
Que el hecho de ser mujer no me hace diferente, al contrario, trabajo y merezco tener un salario bien pagado.
The day before the protest, the 10 independent organizations handed out flyers calling for a peaceful march. It's difficult to get an exact number, but in the past 30 years, at least 2,500 women have been murdered here in Ciudad Juarez. The demonstration was to bring attention to the way women are treated here. Esmeralda Castillo has been missing since 2009. Her mother, Marta, was one of the many mothers at the march, hoping for a better future. Diana Villanueva, NEWS22. This group of people are from Cuba and have just arrived in Ciudad Juarez, hoping to be heard by the court in El Paso since they came to Mexico in 2019. They hope to convince the USA court to allow them political asylum as the families and young men who are finally crossing into the United States after President Biden authorized access of 26,000 active cases candidates under the MPP program. Since February, 7,000 asylum seekers have crossed the border every day through Tijuana, Ciudad Juarez, and Tamaulipas. The IOM group of United Nations escort people who were allowed to stay in the United States.
Que sepan que todo este proceso se está llevando a cabo con las mayores garantías sanitarias, es decir, cruzan los que tienen pruebas antígenas negativas.
Alex Rigol, the IOM coordinator in Ciudad Juarez, confirms that all people who cross are tested for COVID and are negative before going to the USA.
Asilo en un país, tienen derecho a permanecer en ese país mientras se resuelve su caso.
Alberto Cabezas, the communications director in Mexico City, says that when migrants request asylum, they have the right to remain in the country while their case is reviewed. That is normal in all the countries that have signed international law with refugees and asylum. But the USA administration did not allow that for a period of time. And if they are allowed to adapt to society, will contribute to the USA economy.
Mientras esperaba, estuve trabajando en una maquila de custodio.
Lavando carros.
The asylum seekers waiting in Ciudad Juarez for the last 2 years work in car wash, factories, and restaurants. Like Horacio Quilla, who is still waiting to be called by court. In the meantime, he is selling Cuban food in Ciudad Juarez downtown. He was a physical education teacher in Cuba, but he left, looking for freedom. Dayana Villanueva, NEWS22.